Hi, good day everyone and welcome to today's video. I'm going to be discussing something profoundly emotional and a challenging topic, the effects of the mother on losing a child. And that can be any kind of death, bereavement, stillborn, suicide. It's all the same and it's a really deeply sensitive matter, and I'm hoping to provide some insight and support for those who have kind of going through it, who have gone through it and are still struggling. Because it is an unimaginable pain. You know, there's no other pain like it. It's something that I've experienced myself. It's coming up towards the anniversary, 27-year anniversary. And it's something that I'm really extremely passionate about. So I just want to kind of talk about the initial shock, numbness, and the existence after. You know, the initial shock is so overwhelming, and it leads to a complete sense of numbness, completely numb in the mind, in the body. It's a blunt kind of feeling, and you feel it can be a feeling of feeling really disconnected from reality, kind of walking around in a daze. Who am I? Where am I? What's happened? You know, not actually coming to terms with any of the grief. It's just a real numbness and a real shock and devastation. And there's actually no words that can describe that kind of pain. We can kind of say, yeah, it's horrific, it's an unimaginable kind of pain. It's like living in a nightmare. And am I going to wake up in a minute? And that is the initial numbness, and that is a real normal feeling. For some of you that might be going through this now, who have gone through that, wondering, what was all that about, you know? And then over time, and I'm talking, it can be weeks, months, you know, down the line. Like, grief is not linear. There's no time scale. We all process grief very different from one person to the next, who the person is who's died. And this is, you know, when we have a child, there's no kind of thought in the head, is there, or the mind, to think, I'm going to bury my own child. And there's no pain like it. So when you're kind of going through those that kind of initial shock, that numbness, comes a real sadness and an overwhelming kind of grief, like kind of a shock. As the shock kind of wears off, it's kind of replaced by grief, sadness. And it's not an emotional, so it can kind of manifest physically, leading to symptoms such as fatigue, insomnia, loss of appetite, you know, the whole kind of physical pain. And this can persist for a long time. It can persist for a long time, not even going to the gravestone after, because it's so sad, you know. And it's that kind of, sometimes that denial kind of stage that people kind of talk about. And that can, like I said, there's no time scale on that. It's an overwhelming kind of grief. It's after the numbness where kind of the reality. But then what can happen is you can have complete guilt and self-blame. And that is really normal. Mothers often grapple with the intense feelings of grief, self-blame, questioning if there was something that they could have done. Was there something that I could have done? Could I have taken them to the doctors more? Could I have kind of done this? And completely deconstructing every single bit of your life from day one. And sometimes even looking back at the birth or the pregnancy or those kind of moments, is there something that I could have done? And that's normal to recognise that the emotions is a normal part of the grieving process. And I know it's horrible saying grieving process, because it feels clinical, doesn't it? It kind of feels like really clinical, like kind of, yeah, there's kind of no kind of pain like a mother's loss. And when you kind of go through that whole blame, guilt, and then kind of rationalising, and people say, no, you couldn't done anything, kind of looking back at that chronology of events and thinking, you know, I actually tried everything, I did everything. But even if you feel like I didn't do everything, you know, it is okay to kind of feel like that, and it takes time to kind of sit with those feelings. And then what happens sometimes is it can be frustration and anger. People talk about anger, kind of a real anger directed towards other people, directed to the world, the universe. Frustrations of helplessness because it's just a profound loss. And anger is a normal response to grief, to your child dying. You know, it's really normal to feel those kind of feelings of those anger moments when people say, you need to get over your grief. Isn't that annoying? Why do people say that? Oh, you've been going through this for 4 months now. Surely you should be feeling better. Don't that kick in? Don't that make you more angry? And that's normal to feel anger. You know, you're not feeling what I'm feeling. How can you anticipate how I'm feeling? You've not experienced it. You might be another family member. You might be grand. There might be even a sibling. Even a sibling, an older sibling can say stuff like that. Not intentionally meaning to be hurtful. But family, friends, you know, people who you thought, I thought you understood what I'm going through. And that can make you feel more angry. But one of the biggest things out of the whole grief thing is your purpose, your changing identity. What you were before, if you were pregnant, if you kind of, the baby died of stillborn, if it was an infant, a toddler, you know, you had those roles, were roles that we kind of, you had those roles, and it can lead to a crisis of your identity. What am I now? Who am I? Where do I fit in society? Because you were central to that. And what is my purpose now in life? But rebuilding your identity after a child's death. It's savage. There's no other kind of feeling like it. It is a feeling of like, I feel lost. Who am I? I feel lost in society. Do I go back to the job I was doing then? Or do I go and do something to kind of heal myself and to kind of heal what's happened? You know? And it is painful. And it really is kind of, I mean, for me, I always wanted to be an actress. When I was younger, I wanted to go down, I wanted to go to America, I wanted to conquer Hollywood. But some of you know I experienced my child dying of leukemia at 11-week-old. I was only 17 myself, so I kind of was lost in everything. And I'm going to go on to now like the healing road. It is a road of healing. You know, there's a whole thing, you need to feel better in 4 months, and it's not linear. It really isn't. And there's dips. Anniversaries are a big one on your healing stage. Birthdays, anniversaries, pregnancies, what you were doing, those memories. And it can bring you back. It can take you back to the day it happened, or it can take you back to those memories, you know. And we all have those kind of aspirations of where our child would be or what they would be doing. And it's kind of living with that and kind of processing that. So yeah, I just wanted to share this. And I'm like I say, I do a program for mums, and I do counselling, coaching, kind of all integrated. But it is about seeking support. Sometimes it is about seeking that support. If you haven't got a family member or you've got a friend who doesn't understand what you're going through, it really is getting that support from other people. It could be professionals or a grief group or Instagram or YouTube. All of this kind of stuff is going to help you grieve. And I've got so much information and so much stuff to share that helped me on that I would like to be able to kind of gift to you in your grieving process. I really would, because it's kind of stuff I've had to kind of learn and go through. But it is about seeking support, and it is about kind of acknowledging, and you probably won't feel it now, my message to you of hope and finding a purpose after. And this is a bit where people get lost, and this is a bit where I feel that this needs adding as my own theory, is that, yeah, we've got anger, we've got rage, there's all of these other stuff, denial, and we go to an acceptance place. But actually, we still need to be able to function in life. We still need to be able to kind of do something. And a lot of mums that I know that I've worked with want to just kind of to be able to give something back, or in some meaning and purposeful way. So I just wanted to share my thoughts with you today. If you like this video, please like it. If you like some of my content, subscribe, comment on anything that you've kind of feel that has helped you or resonated with you. And I'll be putting more stuff up over the next coming weeks, months and years. But yeah, if you want to send me a message privately, please do, and we can kind of have a call online or by telephone. More than happy with that. But take care.